Hey, yo.
Welcome to another midweek banter. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. A lovely special intro for you. I am Sam.
And I am Azza.
And welcome. It feels like it's been a while.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Some of us have been holding the fort, mate. You've been on some holiday.
I've been on a sabbatical, but big respect, man. Like a solo show, it can't have been easy, and you managed to do like a whole, like not even a mini show, like a whole show.
I remember when I was talking to you after I'd done it, and I think you thought I'd done like a 10-minute clip it for everybody just to give them something. And then I remember getting the message. Oh my God, man, you've done a full show, like a whole hour. But yeah, no, I was panicking, mate. Almost lost myself, but I got there in the end.
Honestly, like, and quality content as well. Nothing like, and considering that you had stuff going on, I had stuff going on, for you to put something out there, I hope the boys appreciate that, and I hope they appreciate
but it. It seemed to get a lot of good feedback. So job done. That was the task.
Fair play.
I think they've enjoyed it so far, so I didn't really want us to have a gap week. So yeah, went well.
And episode 3 in the bag.
Yes, episode 4 coming.
Right.
But
exactly, special themed.
Special theme one this week. But to start with, Sam, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I
mean, it doesn't matter how you feel. Listen, forget all that. Let me tell you what's happening today. We got a brand new segment coming up today. We got the midweek baller league where our guest wants to go 1-on-1 with the great one, and then we got a couple of special subjects this week, Sam, with our guests. We're going to be talking about wrestling, and we're going to be talking about all Sunday League matters. Because our guest this week is Jake. That's who we've been trying to hide. And we had to hide him an extra week. We tried to keep this one under wraps for 1 week. We ended up having to try to keep it under wraps for 2. So, what's your thoughts on Jake?
I feel a genuine, you know, when you feel authenticity about a person. Like,
yeah,
one, he'll say it how it is, but also there's like, you can sense goodness in people, and I'm a big fan. It's someone I could imagine if I was a sociable person. If I wasn't so antisocial, it's someone I could imagine like hanging out with. But unfortunately, that's not my style. But he's a quality lad, and I don't think he believes that as much as I do. I think he's got a bit of self-doubt about himself there. But honestly, top that. And as a player, just literally. In my phone, after the first week that I met him, the first time I ever saw him play, that's why I put him as my contact. Jake Baller!
Yeah, I like that.
He could do it all. It was, and that's again another time where midweek just stepped up in quality. It was pretty special.
Yeah,
what about you? You've known him for longer than I have.
Yeah, I've known him for a long time. Yeah, he's a good guy. He got a good family around him. I know his 2 brothers, and I think I met his mum, possibly, maybe a couple of times. But I know his dad quite well. His dad used to manage the team he manages now.
Oh.
So yeah, got good rapport. He's an old man, to be fair. Very sociable, Jake. Very sociable, and he's the sort of person he'll mix with anyone. He's one of them. If you take him out anywhere, you ain't got to worry about him because he'll get himself dive straight in. He'll end up talking to anyone, no problem. So, and he'll talk for days. So I think we got our hands full today, and it could be a long one. But yeah, he is a good mate. Really, he knows my brother. He's known my brother for a long while, and them boys all work together, which has probably been said. Him, Jake, Ryan, and that. So yeah, he's got good opinions on things, and he puts himself across well. So I think it'd be good. Player-wise, such a good player, mate. Such a good player. Oh, mate. Obviously, I'm the one that brought him down. So I've known him playing wise a long while now, and he's just always been so good, mate, from what I can remember. And for me, he plays the right way, but he makes it look easy. And like, he's one of them. He's good on the ball, but he's got such good physical attributes. You can't get near him either. So yeah, he's probably what you'd call maybe the perfect mould, when he's got big, strong strength, can get across the pitch, but he can play football. He's, plays the passing way. So yeah, he's a good player. I actually think I was going to pull him on it as well, to be fair. I think at a point, like when he first come down, he was playing how he would play, but I don't know if it just got a bit too easy for him, and then he just started getting to this point where he's starting to try to do too much and stuff like that. But everybody knows, man, when he's on it and he's fully at it, he's class. So yeah, he's a good player. So
it's a bit tricky sometimes because of his quality and how much he gets about on the pitch. He's not just a good player. He'll be back and forth and he'll be constantly non-stop running. So sometimes we find it real tricky and I've noticed that sometimes when we try to make teams and make the teams as fair as possible, when you put Jake on one team, you have to put two other good players on the other team to balance it out for him, which is hopefully it will inflate his ego a little bit, but that's the case at the moment. So yeah. So it's good to see that the quality's always been there. Just someone who just naturally seems to be.
Yeah. It's, I think natural talent, mate, and I think it's helped where obviously his dad's fully into it, and I think they've just always had that. All three of them, the brothers, all three are really good. I think it's been drummed into them probably, and obviously they've been at a good like Sunday club as well. So they've always had that coaching as well. So I'm sure far beyond I met him, he was probably showing up people way before them at a young age as well. So yeah, it's probably a natural thing, but also been guided the right way.
Yeah, and that's part of the battle as well, isn't it? Having that right person behind you to encourage you. Yeah,
for sure. But what should we do? Should we get him straight in? We get straight into the action this week.
No messing around. We've in a combination with, there's been lots happening, but we've taken some feedback on board and we won't waste any more time. We'll get the man on himself. And after this, we'll be joined by the one and only Jake. Come back after this.
Okay. Hey. Here we go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Midweek Banter, and we're joined by our special guest today. It's the one, it's the only, it's Jake. Welcome!
JK!
How you doing, boys? Okay?
I'm feeling phenomenal, mate.
Really? Is it because we've got a bank holiday looming? Or does it not make a difference because we're all just stuck in the house doing piss all anyway?
No, I for one will appreciate the bank holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you'll have to work the bank holidays, don't you?
Nah, we get bank holidays off, mate. We're, like, the NHS does run without me, believe it or not. I know it's hard to believe, but
I'm in shock.
Yeah. I let the doctors do the doctor, and I'll just do the rest of it on my Monday to Fridays, non-bank holidays.
So just put everyone in the picture, for those of you that don't know too much about you. So you are a key worker. You work for the NHS. What do you do?
Save children's lives on a daily basis. No, I'm basically like an operations manager or a service manager. So I run the orthopaedic service at the local West Hart. So it's Watford, Hemel, St Albans hospitals. So orthopedics obviously is like your bones and your breaks and all that stuff. So that's probably the service that I've used the most. I don't know about you boys, but yeah. So I know it quite well before I came into it. But yeah, I mean, it's not really what I want to do, but when you're on a ladder, you're just working your way up that ladder until you know what you want to do. Because if I knew what I wanted to do, I'd hopefully be doing it, even if it was piss poor money. I'd rather be doing that than
you're still figuring that part out yet, where you want that journey with the end game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, while I am figuring it out, though, I might as well work up this ladder. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
going to
So lockdown has been on for us. We've been in lockdown. The Prime Minister said that we're on lockdown, but not for you. Lockdown is not a thing for you.
I don't really. I don't know. It's a weird little bubble anyway, because obviously I'm going to work every day. I work from home very rarely, like maybe once a week, like every other week or something like that. But it's the bubble, right? And so everyone's in their own little bubbles. But I've got my own little. I've got like separate bubbles. I've got like the lockdown bubble, which doesn't really exist for me, as you say. But it's kind of everything. My daily routine has totally changed, like socially and all that. But then my work bubble is also different because everything's changed. So like your daily routine at work is also totally different. So everything's like very much like it feels like you're on like first response. It feels like you're in like crisis the whole time, even though everything like kind of is still going quite slowly and there's reduced activity. There's still a lot to do, and like you've got kind of foreshadow and plan ahead, which is, I know, very unlike the NHS, but we actually do try. But I'm one of those. To sum up, I'm basically one of those middle management arseholes that the Daily Mail will complain about. So here I am.
No, we don't value Daily Mail here. Don't worry, it's fine. We don't care.
Good. Them and the rest of those bastards causing all the problems all over the news today, as we know, which is just making things 10 times worse. Because tomorrow, being the bank holiday, I can just see it now. It's going to be absolutely heaving. Everyone's going to just be busy now because everyone's going to disregard the rules because government don't seem to think that they have to follow them. So
no, exactly. Leading by example, as always.
Yeah.
But we luckily, thankfully, we didn't meet you in the hospital circumstance. We didn't. That's not how I met you anyway. But part of midweek, you joined us on Wednesdays, and strangely enough, haven't looked back since.
So I don't know. Azza should remember this. I don't know if you remember this, but like I actually played my first game or two. I think it might have been one, and then the second game. This is what happened. This was nearly 10 years ago, if not longer. As it was when you started Wednesdays. Azza brought me along quite early on. Again, time frame's totally non-existent to me. And I think I played once, and then the second time you tried to draft me in, because I used to play on Wednesday night at 5, didn't I? And I had my own team.
You got injured.
Yeah, and that was when I tore my ligaments for the second time, and so I had to text you. I was barely conscious because I was in so much pain, and I had to text you. I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to the hospital because I tore my ligaments. Can't play tonight. Sorry." And I did it in the game before that I was supposed to be playing with you boys.
Yeah, you know what? I would have never remembered that unless you told me. And as you were starting to speak, and that come straight back into my head. Yeah, I remember that now. Because
But then obviously that was like 10 years ago now.
Oh, the league game as well, right? You were playing down there, or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to play twice a week down there, and I used to play Wednesdays. Then obviously, to get the fitness, I was kind of playing Wednesdays with my fives team, and then playing with you lot after. But it didn't really work out that way because of the injury. So yeah, so that was what it feels like about 10 years ago now. And then I obviously came back after I came out from travelling, which was 6 years ago. And I've been playing pretty much since then. I'd imagine about 4 years ago. It feels like 5 years ago.
That put you out for a good year, didn't it?
Yeah, man. I've done it twice. I've had my ankle reconstructed twice, and both times, like I've been on crutches for 18-month periods in the 2 years after that fact. So it's pretty full on. But I mean, that's why where we are now. So obviously, I had to retire from 11 side. Retire.
Yeah.
I
was literally like that because you stopped playing 11s based on the fact, obviously, you felt it was more risky getting injured at 11s, right? But in theory, you got injured down Power League anyway. Yeah, well, that was the problem though. I think after I did it the first time, I did it good and proper the first time, and I kept playing on it because I back then, you know what it's like. You twist your ankle and you go to the doctors. Doctor sends you for a scan. You got to go to the hospital to have multiple appointments. And at that age, they'll do everything they can to avoid operating on you. Yeah. So they were kind of saying, "Oh, you strained your ligaments. They're damaged." And then so I kept playing on it, thinking, "Oh, it's fine. I'll cut down from 5 times a week to 3 times a week, and it'll be fine." Got to like, I don't know,
a month after the fact, the scan comes back and they're like, yeah, no, you fully ruptured one of your ligaments, and by continuing to play on it, you've fucked your Achilles.
Yeah.
So it became a full ankle reconstruction I needed, because I'd strained the other two, torn one, damaged the Achilles, so I had to go in and do the whole the whole thing. And the problem was, when I came back from that, I went so intense on coming back from that. So I was playing 11s, twice a week, 5s and 7s. And that's probably what did it. It was just overuse of it. And the second time, the operation was even bigger, because I'd done all this floating bone and all this chipping on the ankle bone. So it was a clean out of the whole ankle as well. So, yeah.
Nice.
But it was easy to recover from that one because they did keyhole. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, the problem was, it's like everything. Like, you're in a cast for 6 months up to your knee, because I have to position your foot and all that. And it's learning to walk again. It's everything. It's it's like and then that's their own bubble itself, isn't it? You just you can't look after yourself. You can't do anything, go anywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty horrendous. But I think, again, the way it's worked out is quite weird, because actually, not to say I was coming to the end of my football cycle, but the level our team are at, I doubt I'd have been in the starting 11 much longer. And the way it all worked out was that managers changed. So, the manager's changed, and it needed someone else to step into being the manager. So it works out quite well, in the sense that, I've been there playing for that club since 4 years old, and only the year above me, that was the first of it. So it was formed in 91. I joined in 92, and I've played for them ever since. So it was kind of like a rightful path to kind of become a manager of the senior team, which I'd kind of been at since I was a kid. So it was pretty cool in that sense.
And you're the longest one there now, aren't you? Obviously, because no one that you started with was obviously there no more.
No, exactly. Well, there's 2 others, I think, and then that's it. But yeah, I've got most appearances. I had most appearances. I've probably been overtaken now by the other lad who was also there joining. He joined for about 2 years, 3 years after us now. But I was one of the founding members of the club, essentially, which is pretty cool. But back then, because he was so young, you didn't have an age group for me, so I was playing with the older kids, which meant I'd never play. But I mean, yeah, it's how you learn how to play football, isn't it? So so
going by what you said, so anybody that don't know, obviously I know that the old manager was Jake's old man. So in theory, Jake's saying his old man would have stopped playing him.
Mate, he was determined to get rid of me anyway. We had Barneys every game, and the worst thing was, because I was a winger, one half it would be blissful because I'd be on the other side of the pitch to him. But the half that I was on his side, it was just me and him, cat and dog, arguing for the whole game. It was awful. But I mean, we were quite, I wouldn't say successful back then, but we had a great team, and it was good fun. And it just part of it was just Jake and Dad arguing every week. So
yeah, could imagine, mate.
Yeah,
so how is Jim anyway?
Funny you ask, actually. So I haven't really told anyone about it, but basically my dad nearly died through, he got COVID, and he got pretty ill. He was in hospital for 5 weeks, but 4 of those weeks he was in intensive care in a coma. And so he was at Watford, and he got got to Patworth, which is a chest hospital in Cambridge, like specialist one. And they had to intubate him because he got pneumonia, chest infection, and he got COVID. And as I say, he had a 2% survival chance, and I think only 4 or 5 people in the country have survived what he's actually had, the level of which he's had it. Anyway, so he's back at home now, and he's all good. But it's a long road to recovery. He had a tracheotomy and stuff, so he has to learn how to talk again, breathe properly again. Yeah. He's like eating but barely. He has to learn how to walk again. So he's got all physios and nurses and psychologists coming to him. So it's pretty full on. It's a long road back. It's kind of like months instead of weeks it's going to be for someone in his situation. But I mean, the way what this has done to loads of people, it's kind of just a blessing that he's survived it all, and we've got him on the out now. But yeah, it's quite funny to ask, because apart from that, he is just your regular 60-year-old dad. Like, he's just got a bit of a belly. Like, he loves his DIY. He's like from that generation who did it all themselves. Like, he was ex-army, so he's always kind of been like very regimented in what he does, and he's very stubborn old kid.
That's why I always said that your team were the fittest team we ever played, mate, because I could imagine what your training sessions were like.
Oh, mate, pre-season was awful, but like I loved it at the same time, because it was just like you knew, but yeah, you just like 2.5 hour sessions, and for the first hour we wouldn't even see a football. It was just absolute killer.
Yeah.
Oh no, pre-season was class. I loved that back in the day. To be fair, I don't make it any easier for them these days, but yeah.
No, I'm sure it's probably rubbed off on you, innit? And now you've carried it on.
Well, it's easier to tell them what to do instead of doing it yourself, isn't it? So
yeah,
I'm quite happy telling them to do.
I can vouch
50
for that.
So your dad was manager of the Sunday team that you joined.
So obviously I was in the team, and the problem was we obviously at our age, like white kids in the middle of England, kind of beautiful area. There was like everyone in my class and everyone in my year wanted to play football. So you've got 60 kids all in one team, essentially, all wanting to play football. So obviously, as the years go by, as teenagers become teenagers, it got trimmed. But you still ended up with nearly 30 to 40 kids, all going for an 11-side team. So what actually happened was we created a second team, and we needed a manager. And because obviously, I don't know if you know, but I've got 2 brothers. My dad, it's just a football household. So bless my mum, she's just grown up. Football's all she's ever had to deal with and known. She had no chance. So my dad, he was coming down every week watching all of us because we'd all play at the same ground, train at the same location. So it just made sense for him to become manager of the team. And the best thing was, I only think it happened once, but like it worked out that like Dad was manager, I was playing, Joe was playing, and Scrum was all playing at the same time. And now it's turned around that obviously I'm the manager, Scrum and Joe play, and then my dad will still come and watch. But I think it was just too stressful for him. It's not really an old man's game, Sunday football. Like it's just a bit aggro that you don't need. But I think obviously when it gets to seniors, it is just another level.
So how did it go from? But you were the next manager after your dad stopped, or
no? So my dad packed it in, just to say, because it was getting on a bit and couldn't be arsed with it. But I think we had one of the older boys. He just fancied doing it. He'd done coaching previously, so he took it on. But actual fact, as soon as he started managing, he realised actually he wanted to be back playing, and he thought he had a couple more years in him, which he did, to be fair. So he started playing for us again. But again, very recently, the level of our team has gone up so high that he found out he had no space in the team for him. So he's gone and joined someone else now. But, you know, I was able to fortunately kind of jump in. It worked out time-wise perfectly with my injury. I was able to jump in his grave, as it were, and just take over the reins. And I've been doing it now 4 or 5 years, I think. So, yeah, 5 years, maybe. Well, this is my 5th year we'll be coming into now. So,
what's the real life equivalent of that? Like, not real life, that is real life, but what is the professional life equivalent of that, where a father has been a manager and then further down the line the son has also managed?
Oh, it'd be Cloughie, wouldn't it? Brian Clough.
Yeah, that's the famous example. And
I wouldn't dream to draw another comparison. I was thinking Trump initially. I thought that would be an awful example. But I think Cloughie would be the best one. Although actually, I think obviously Brian Clough, we were all too young for him, and what he did with the Forest team was pretty special. But I think Nigel Clough's best time was when he was at Burton Albion, wasn't he? And he was a legend for Burton Albion.
Yeah.
Burton Albion were proper minnows even in the Championship, so he did well to get anything out of them. But never really replicated it with Forest, did he?
No.
I can't think of any other examples, to be fair.
Fergie's boy as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did it, but he only reached the heights with Peterborough, didn't he? He never actually went to United and did anything there, but he was United's scout for a time, and then he went on and did Peterborough.
Yeah.
But he didn't do too badly at Peterborough, Darren Ferguson.
No, he done well there. I remember that. Yeah. Well, I hope Jim's well. I actually miss him. I was going to say, I miss him. He was probably one of the only managers I enjoyed actually coming up against, if you like, because obviously he knew we knew you, and then your 2 brothers were there, and then.
Oh yeah, he had a lot of respect inside for you too. Well,
it'd be like shake hand, don't really talk before the game, and then you can have a chat after, sort of thing. It was
yeah.
But it was always funny and a good bit of banter. I used to enjoy it quite a lot.
Yeah, he liked you 2 boys, but he hated the rest of your team. But yeah, he got on well with you 2. And that's the thing, though. Like he is like what you see is what you get with him, and I think he'll tell you what he thinks of you. He doesn't hold back, and he's but at the same time he's. If he's got respect and love for you, he'll treat you well. So he is good like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's on the mend, so yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, well, best wishes to Jim for sure. I hope he's well. So you're already half give us your memories of the start of how you started in that, and obviously, you know, we all know that I brought you down. So the only other question I got on that sort of front was, I just wanted a quick one. Where do you stand in Westfields and Bushy when that comes up?
Do you know what? Like, I think like it's undoubted that sevens at Bushy Power League is the nuts, isn't it? Like everyone, like that is what everyone wants ideally for themselves. Problem is, I think us three are like three of like the top, the cream of the crop in terms of appearances. So we don't have to ever worry about getting the game.
Yeah.
Whereas I think there are boys, and I always take them into consideration because obviously, as Ims has said, and as we all agree, we don't want to drop 10 people if we can avoid it, and we want to see all of our mates and play with all our mates if possible. So I'll always say, I'll always be one of the ones to be happy to play at Westfield. At the end of the day, football. And I know it'd be lovely to play at Power League with the boards and stuff, and it's like the arena is perfect, but I don't unenjoy playing with more people in a bigger space that much more, because it's still the same kind of game. It's still the same quality. Admittedly, the last couple of times we played at Westfield, I didn't enjoy it as much, even though I think I was on the winning side, just because the game passes you by so much more, and you obviously get less time on the ball with more players. And and you end up doing more, like, again, especially if you're in midfield, you just end up doing up and down. And if you're in defence or attack, you end up half the game watching the other end of the pitch. So I do appreciate that actually people might not enjoy it as much, but I think at the end of the day, if we're all boys, you'd want to get at least, you know, half of them in if possible. And as you said, I think you were chatting to Imsy about yesterday on the old Insta Live, like you're expecting a 30 or so back. I'm expecting the opposite. You know, I'm expecting that first week it's going to be like a light lift of a lockdown, what we already are. And I think Power League are going to obviously be rushing to open it up. And I think a lot of people are still be quite hesitant to play again. So for me, I've got this mindset of like, actually, I stand at work with strangers and randoms, like less than 2 meters apart. I have meetings all day. Like the lockdown's a little different from my perspective anyway, and that's not even avoidable for me. So like football wouldn't be a problem for me, and especially if you're going there and you stick to hygiene levels, you can't really do much more. If you're going to catch it, you're going to catch it in that sense. But again, it's how you then deal with it on the outswing of that, right? But the problem is, if they lift the lockdown like they have now, the next step is playing football. And so I think people will still be hesitant to jump back into it at the early stages. I think you'll be surprised how little people actually want to rush back just because of the fear of contagion, maybe. Not that I won't. I'm right on that pitch. You can count me in. Fuck me. You can do the teams as shit as you want, and I will still be there. I won't even complain. I won't even, for the first week, maybe two, you won't even get a moan out of me. I won't even give Jackie stick. I won't even moan about South Foxy or anything. I will play any conditions, mate. Don't even worry.
Well, I'll certainly be there, and now you've said that, I'll be making the teams as well. So
take advantage of my generosity, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
No, but I tell you what, though, I think it's quite nice to like mix it up once in a while, because like it's just the novelty of a tournament makes difference, or the novelty of a new location. And the problem for me is, and I appreciate some of the boys come an absolute mile to come and get to Bushy, but it's so convenient for me, and especially when it's that late, getting home and then, you know, doing all the bits after that is long enough. But when you're driving an extra half hour to get to like North London, or even like, you know, Ruislip, or even Westfield makes another big 20-minute difference for me. So it's that kind of thing, isn't it? Like it's convenient for me to play at Bushy, and I love playing at Bushy. It's just around the corner from me, and it's the perfect arena. But if we ever have a situation where we can accommodate more people and still play football together, I'd much rather that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
What do you think? You're both not fussed either, I don't think, are you?
No, I agree. I quite like it there. But I also do agree with the point you made about you can, say a team's dominating and you're playing at the back, you can spend, you know, more time sitting watching rather than being on the ball, because obviously Power League's a lot more compact pitch and that, and obviously it's constant in it, especially with the sideboards and that as well. So
I tell you what's good that we haven't done it, but I played in Abs's Sunday one once, and it's I think it's nines, isn't it? And that's nines pitches. It's a different shape, but it's actually it's a much more sevens like based game. So, you know, obviously when we go to Westfield, it is a different concept. But like, if there was a pitch even closer than that one, but a nines pitch is still very good. So like, I would be up for doing a nines one if we had like, let's say we had 20 people in, we'd only have to cull two.
So yeah,
To kind of like get that kind of thing, like nines action going, because I think again, the other thing about Westfield is dirt cheap. It's so cheap.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the other plus side as well. I think there's a lot of positives there, but there might be one or two negatives. But again, I still enjoy it, but I do fully agree with the other points you made, where it can be a lot of running, and then if you're on the two other ends of the pitch, you might not always see a lot of the ball, possibly. So
the way you could also mix it up, you could do like you could do a tourney, couldn't you? You could just do two pitches on a half, and then again you're accommodating all the numbers again. But I mean, look, we're all adults, and at the end of the day, there's just actually I think there's too many people that like throwing their opinions, and nothing gets sorted because everyone's kind of said that angle, and you end up with a stalemate anyway. So it does come down to, at the end of the day, the person who's organising it. So if Fims can be asked to do it, fair play.
I mean, no matter how many good points you've made, sadly, I don't feel it'll be the end of the discussion. It's good. I mean, and you put your points across so articulately as well, and it's hard to disagree with them. And regardless of anyone's opinions, unfortunately, we'll come to that head again, where it would just.
I'm happy to confront the issue right now, Shavi. Right here, right now, Shavi. You two are the problem. Okay. So let's put it straight. Let's put it straight, right? I am more than happy to play at Power League, but if there are two people that are refusing to play elsewhere, they should go to bottom of priority if we have to then play at Power League, and those are the two that should get dropped. If they're stopping 7 other people from playing just because they don't fancy it, it's for the greater good. So we either play at Power League without those two, or we play at Westwood with everyone. Then everyone wins, right?
Yeah, fair play. I want to say I agree. And I think the only two that should be lower than them two in terms of priority anyway is Turkish. That's right.
Can I ask you, like, so I mean, I know the guests shouldn't really speak out of turn, but like, where's this the Azza beef started from? Was it the Turkish lines? Was where it started? Because it's really ramped up, and week by week it's getting more funny. And like, the problem is that poor Abs, he's not very good at tracking a conversation in a chat, nor am I when it's like 800 messages every 2 hours. But like, he gets it one way, obviously, from you on a pod each week. So like, can you give an account of who started it and why it's still like ramping up?
Listen, he had an invite to the live yesterday, and he dropped these bollocks. He dropped these bollocks, and that's all I've got to say on that.
But where did the original tete-a-tete come from?
I can't remember, but the Turkish line come out, and he had no clue about how or why or nothing. And that's, I think, the fact that he was clueless of what it meant and where it come from, it kind of stuck to him, and then it just went on and on and on. And now it's just become a whole big thing, and that's now what he's forever known as. So
I do like the spiciness.
I couldn't tell you the original reason or the conversation at all.
We've got like late 90s Wenger Ferguson vibes going on. I love it. It's fantastic. Like, there's so much back and forth. It's so good.
Yeah.
Even to the point where like Shafi is not even the most hated person in the group anymore.
It's unbelievable, to be honest. We found ourselves a new villain anyway.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of a Keegan Ferguson vibe to it as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just imagine Abs coming out and saying, "I will love it if we beat him. I will love it."
It's got to be Azza versus Abs first game back, and they've got to pick. They like literally have them in a group, picking teams there, and like that'll be it.
Captains, if he wants it, mate, I'm willing to fucking dish it out, no problem.
And I'll tell you what. If we're putting nominations for who's coming on the pod next, I'm voting Abs every week until he gets on, because I want to see that blow up on telly, like live on air. I can't wait for it. Sam, you're going to do a lot of busyness there. You're going to be busy. You're going to be in a referee shirt. I'm going to deal with that one.
Yeah, good idea. Sam, take a trip to Foot Locker, mate. You need a new top.
Part of me wants Abs to come on and let these two have it out. but part of me feels that I want it to be in a face-to-face kind of them in the same room thing.
Oh, really?
No.
Put boxing gloves on them at least then. Jesus.
No, but only because I know neither one of them will let the other one speak. And on Zoom, that comes across so much more. You don't hear anyone. But
it's gonna be a lot of noise
and everything. You want to be there in the crux of it and feel the awkwardness and just cut through the tension and all that. You want it to be there. So, but you might get your wish.
But before we move section, just to clarify, Abs, and if everybody else agrees, me, you, captains, first game back, we're all having it.
The challenge has been laid down. The gauntlet has been laid. Let's see if Abs is going to come back with a response. But we're going to be coming back after this.
Yeah.
We're going to be coming back after this. And we're going to be chatting more to some Jake and finding out more about the man himself. But in the meantime, let's see if we get any heat from Abs in the group. But we'll be back after this.
Fuck the Reds.
Okay.